At this time, I'm very, very pleased to introduce our next group from TruArtSpeaks. Please come on up and welcome.
Here and now, I am journeying back to me, back to black, back to Kemet. Kemet? What was Kemet? Kemet was important. The authentic black woman lived here, unbothered. Africa. I've never been to Africa. Sometimes it makes me cry. This is where I can love authentically, heal. This is true to my heart. My womb embodied, her womb flowering. My womb needs the change, the love, the care. Where is she safe? This isn't us. I promise this isn't for us. They can't take us. They can't take us away from our dance. As long as I can breathe, as long as I can see, as long as I can walk, I will say, thank you. The feet that touch the earth before mine are connected to the feet that walk the earth we didn't know. The flowers grew in the spring, but we must wait for the summer. The seed was planted in the winter. Wait, no, the spring. Mine are connected to the feet that walk the earth we didn't know. Some of you weren't here yet, and many of you weren't here at all. The seed was planted in the winter. Wait, no, the spring. My people, you have changed like the seasons. Some of you weren't here yet. Many of you weren't here at all. This time, maybe, I'll be yours. I'll have time for you. My people, you have changed like the seasons. This time is ours to hold and to hear. My life is intertwined. The flowers grew in the spring, but we must wait for summer. My heart is full. I am whole. The feet that touch the earth before. Deep diver. Deep diver. Down in the depths of the soul. I saw her soul, and I separated from the person. Imagine that person, magnificent in the public eye, magnitude in hand, pain in her back pocket. That majesty, walking through the crowd, magnitude in hand, pain in her back pocket. You can set yourself free. My watch says it's time. My mind is stuck on the facts. You know the truth is not for sale. I want to discover what it looks like to come together every September. I'm saying, you gotta dive.
They killed 13 babies because they were brown. So a group calling themselves the 13 Triggers told them to remove their politicians and their police from St. Paul and seed it from Minnesota, or they're off in 13 of them. And in the aftermath, 2 cousins struggle over how oppression changed them. Three knocks on my door. Soft and silent raindrops, so already I knew who it was. I open it, and my little cousin pushes past me through my living room and makes her way to my kitchen. She pokes her head around in the fridge and then faces me. Leaning against the wall, body tilting so clean and straight, it's geometry. She brushes the ends of her leather jacket, runs her fingers through the roots of her puffed out fro dyed purple at the tips, holds her arms across her chest, and complains that all I drink is lemon water. I shake my head and scoff. She says, "You know, Danny and I are about to go on patrol. It's been a year since we reclaimed the city, but gotta stay ready so when 12 do come, we don't gotta get ready. Is you coming?" "Nah, I just put my kids to sleep." "Is that why you don't be answering your phone?" "Yeah, I've been busy." She looks around and sees loose popcorn and open and empty candy wrappers and flat beers tumbling out the trash. Too busy raising my little cousins, or too busy brooding around in this house? It looks sad in here, cuz. Is there something else you wanted? I just think it's funny because you got a babysitter. Everybody, because of what we accomplished, has childcare. So I'm trying to figure out what's really up. It's nothing. It's something. I'm good. Okay. She stretches her arms in a yawn. I guess I'll just drop by tomorrow. Good seeing you. She makes her way to the door. And then, "Cuz," I said, "I know why we did what we did. If we ain't build an autonomous city, then Bree and Bria and their future kids would have lived half lives. I get all that. But it doesn't make life after any easier. I can't sleep. How are my kids going to look at me?" She plops down next to me on the couch, closing the space between us so our knees just about touch. "So you feeling guilty? Cuz, you know you the one who planned the blockade, right? Nobody made you do anything. Any guilt is on you. Bree and Bria will understand when they're old enough. Have you ever read Beloved? I'm the one that put you on the Beloved. You wouldn't tell Sethe that she shouldn't have sold her kids to slavery, or should have just handed her kids back to slavery. I'm not saying that. Then what you saying? These the choices they systems leave us with, so what is you saying? I just feel like you liked it too much. Is that what you think, for real? You think I'm out here just slicing throats? Quiet down, cause you waking up my kids. Always weaponizing my little cousins. They need to hear this. Why? Cause one day, they might need to take us down. Oh, so you have guilt too. She sneers. Oh, I see why you drank all that water. Must be trying to detox or something, huh? Get out of my house, cuz, for real. On the monitor, I see my babies begin to stir. They'll want me to read them back to sleep. Armed with stories weaved with secrets, and nudging them to be both moral and kind, historical and hopeful. I intend to read the next revolution away.
Wonder if the world I dream about to happen. There used to be shoes on phone lines that used to guide me home. A bunch of dusty telephone booths I used to kiss mean boys in have now all vanished. How boring. What was lush fencing before, dense with speckled rust, bronze lines head within every curl of floral art, meddled together, where I would attempt to portal my hands through to see if I could get the river water to wave at me, watch her wink back. I can't smell the marigolds when I walk past them. They're dragon's blood. Who drove the ice cream truck out with pitchforks in supermarkets? Who will lead the children off the streets without song? Deliver back the guardian public benches spray painted red. Once they held enough space for my sister, myself, and a mama whose everything was held by a hiker's bag on her back, who took my $5 with a grumble and a gold tooth. I know what a full porch looks like. All the steps littered with children dampened by hose water, their sticky lemonade soaked hands. My mama told me if we went past the river to greet her. I think she only talks to that hostile architecture, its dull face, its gargled sidewalk posture. I don't know if the pigeons are government created to surveil us or if they're made for us to believe that they haven't died out. Either way, the pigeons don't eat no more. All they do is stare and hover. You can't swim down the Mississippi in a tank. You can't listen to a painted moon. All the fences, glass, tall buildings look ready to disappear me at night. I arrive home by luck nowadays. They may have even swapped the sun out for another. I believe it. I could walk uptown all the way down to Cedar without never once saying I fell in love. How could I? When I keep my eyes closed the whole time, when I black out between blocks, No, I'm not talking about history. I don't want anything from the past. I refuse to return my Black people to darkness. I'm talking about the future. Why do you refuse to believe in something warmer? This empty city, it ain't just ugly, it's boring, and it is so, so lonely. I think the world I dream about to happen. Do you smell it? Over the horizon, it's calling our names, singing our songs back to us. Call us pretty girl fly as we slip and slide downtown to city council, spray paint our serves, curvy women singing, swinging, real sweet. I called the sun today to wake her up because I gave her PTO. I think the moon feeling herself because she got tan lines now. She bad. The boys, gold grilled and loud, cookout fingers with dawn heavy smiles, lead me down the road in a black hoopty, grab swing set stars for home. I think the world I dream about to happen. I taste her wind, her cool hands. I'm building her red skies, her orange lights. For us, 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 for us.
One, they didn't try nothing because I have free healthcare, or I have free healthcare because they didn't try nothing. Kids tour precincts and fossils, north end to south side. Yeah. I woke up pink and all my pills paid for. Dude ran up, armed, bluffing. Hugged him. Go play, homie. Two, try to make us labor if you want to. A rock's throw away from the crib, I see lemon pillows and gardens. We not forced to work anymore. Fam, all the land is plowed already. Chill. Come get whooped. In 2K. 3, disabled kids are the culture. Last week, a girl leg snapped. At last, out came Outcast playing ninjas. Smoke bomb. She gone. Now, she here. Building tall. Strongest I've seen in years. Circles. Every decision we make together, it might go slow, but it goes just fine. A group of mostly old and brown heads with gray naps form a circle, pass a stick, and talk. Village politics. Elder's car was stolen, says Brownhead 1. Now what? And we know it was somebody's son, says Brownhead 2. A group of mostly old and brown heads with gray naps form a circle, pass a stick, and talk? Village politics? I just wish these kids would turn in their sneakers for boots made fit for the land, Grayhead 1 says. Grand and green greens don't work themselves. And we know it was somebody's son. He'll answer our call one day, says Brownhead 1. I just wish these kids would turn in their sneakers for boots made fit for the land. Grand and green greens don't work themselves. How many times do we have to try something before we can all agree it's not working? Says Grayhead 2. He'll answer our call one day. If he doesn't, says Brownhead 2, we can always find a barred up and far away room for him. How many times do we have to try something before we can all agree it's not working? Forget about the dang car, says Grayhead 3. If he doesn't, we can always find a barred up and far away room for him. Ain't that your car right there, Elder? Says Brownhead 3. Forget about the dang car. Elder's car was stolen. Now what? Ain't that your car right there, Elder? Every decision we make together, it might go slow, but it goes just fine.
Seventh Heaven, lines borrowed from Dinesh Smith and Essex Hempfield. 1. My girls and I know how to control ourselves when we want to. Keep at bay the cool fire hurt for when we were forced to bow to those who spit on our names. All that rage lies like slickbacks tamed by Ed Sheeran. But when we don't care, we keep things buck wild and untamed and raised on hind legs. New wig every week, black girls to nails done on Saturday afternoons. Square buff, gel polish only, gemstones cascade down to the pinky toes. All my lashes be like my gold chains, long. You wanna know something? I know black trans women who could hit you with a two-piece, grill you down to your drawers, still ask, you hungry, boo? I got black girls that be the brightest shade of light, transformed to mothers and moon-dip lovelies and tree bark. Black girls who love till they sitting in their graves and we real to our graves. And black folk been reimagining themselves before anyone attempted to erase them out of scripture. I guard them with my life and them mine without apology. 2. I'm building my heaven while I'm still alive. This heaven, for sure, will be a name like a house, furnished with all the songs about water, a smile when I hold Adam's rim, the same one I stole right off him, a body before it became the collateral of anger, a heaven with a river of lip gloss. 3. What a black imperative to concern myself with something I ain't got no control over. Despite what it got to do with me, everything. 4. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wanted freedom, so I started carrying Freesia in my head. It couldn't serve you. The garden is too small. I wanted your entrance to follow the Adhan. I wanted this day to be a Friday. I wanted my mother's hands and her father's compound marble laid out for your arrival. I am met with golden stairs that never end. No God to thank or people to greet her with. I can't even form grief. Nothing here. There's nothing here except my spite. I want what I can't have, and that is simply you and I and sweetness reciting each other's names over and over. Who wants a heaven that echoes? Who wants the 7 degrees of separation after death? I'm sorry. 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 I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 5. I dream this heaven with the soil of this earth, but not the men of this earth. I dream it not white and endless. I dream it all of women who say, I am woman, and it is. 6. Say it with your whole black mouth. I am innocent, and this is your entrance into heaven. Say it with your whole black mouth. I am not his shame, and this is your entrance into heaven. Say it with your whole black mouth. I am not the world's sin, and this is your entrance into heaven. 7. Here in this heaven, all our concerns, our hope, bloodless, forgiving, forgive me. I forgive you forever. Mothers turn daughters, again hold me. Read me the rites of rain. The porch door stays open. I'm right here, baby. You good? You good. My Allahida can only be here with all of you. Please forgive me. Remember, I forgive you forever. Love, this is love. I can't believe I'm holding you again. I'll make home for you. No matter what, I'll deliver the teeth, I'll gild the machetes, I'll beg the birds to watch the gates. All our concerns are small and ours and personal.
Hello, hello. My name is Tish Jones, founder and executive director of TruArtSpeaks. Can we give it up one more time for these young people?
I sweat it. Oh my God.
I have the honor of interviewing these young adult artists and just peeking in for a little bit about, what their process was like. So first, if you all don't mind, can you just let the folks in the audience, both in person and virtually, know what is your name? How do you want to be identified throughout this process? And what is your relationship to TruArtSpeaks as an organization?
Hello, everyone. My name is Aisha Kamara. My pronouns are she, her. I am TruArtSpeaks alumna since I was like 13, and it's family for sure.
Hello, everybody. I'm Taiwana Shambly. I use she, her pronouns. I grew up in St. Paul and live in Southside. I'm a fiction writer, a spoken word artist, a teacher. I'm also an alumna of TruArtSpeaks. I had stumbled into one of our open mics when I was like 15. It was the first time I ever performed. And since then, I joined the network. I joined our community.
Hello, my name is Athena Estime, also known as Vibrant Hues. I'm a multidisciplinary artist and creative, teaching artist, youth advocate. I use she, her, hers pronouns. And I was first introduced to TruArtSpeaks when I was 14 and taught me that I could perform and write. And from there, it just kind of set the tone for all my arts experiences until I came back for YAB, and now I'm a YAB alum, Youth Advisory Board alumni of TruArtSpeaks. And yeah, it's only up from here.
I love that. That's all you. It gave me my own. You know what I mean? Got my own. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. What you just did was amazing. And we've spent this time working with PaviElle French, and I'm gonna just get to it because the content that I had some moments in the audience. I don't know if you can hear me signifying and testifying how we do. But you spent these 2 weeks working, intensely with PaviElle French and other artists from TruArtSpeaks. Can you just talk a little bit about the process and specifically what it means for you to be writing about liberation and, to your point, Aisha, in your piece, the future?
Yeah, for me, it was really fun. It's the first time I've written to music in years. And I found myself really challenging myself to be specific in our images and specific in not just using big words that folks can't understand, but what does that look like? I know I wanted to talk about disabled youth. I know I wanted to talk about Black trans women. And I know I wanted to put a huge emphasis on place. I love the Twin Cities. I love our young people here. Yes.
I think so. We didn't want to focus on the abstract, right? We wanted to focus on things that were tangible, things that we could put into words or sound or music that people could feel and people could see, because the concrete felt important. I think our Purple Playground folks said something really important to me, and it was the fact that like my brain keeps going after the thing. So we had 2 weeks, 3 days within those 2 weeks, and then today, and it was a lot of conversation that happened in that space, but it was a lot of conversation amongst, like, within ourselves that was happening. So then every time we came again, there was even more of a commitment to create more content. And we had folks like Tish and Des and PaviElle that were like, okay, now here are prompts, or here are settings where you can put all that content and make it take shape. And that felt extremely liberating. And I'm a graduate student now, so I got a bunch of homework. And it felt very beautiful to not have like a kind of time restraint where somebody was gonna give me a letter grade, but I was the one who was like setting my desires. Like, I got to put what I wanted on this stage with these folks, and that felt very safe and rewarding and vulnerable. And to do it in front of all of you, that's the point, right? Because this conversation will turn into a future conversation, or a future program, or a future activity for us all to be involved in because of what was done today. So
I knew this was going to be a really fast and exhilarating experience, and it was. It was last week and this week, 6 sessions, boom, 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 boom. And I feel like it really pushed me to look at what I was doing and why I was doing it. With every word or every sound that I was making, I had to really think with intention and consider how that was going to be received. And that's what TruArtSpeaks has taught me just in general in the arts, and to apply it to something that is very vulnerable for me. Writing isn't really my go-to art form, visual artist first, and then music, and then I'm not trying to like get into writing. And this experience really pushed me to like pay attention and stay focused on the end goal, which was what we were creating here on the stage for you all right now. And coming together with Aisha and Taiwana, I've known them from different spaces and community over the years or the decade, and I feel like it's just so beautiful to finally be able to work with them and to be guided through that experience. Working with PaviElle was amazing. I feel like she was just in alignment with everything that we wanted to see and I wanted to see in the future and in the new world. And with my work specifically, I felt like I wanted to bring forward things that have been hidden from us in the past, because there's a lot of gems in the past that can teach us how to better structure our lives and our society and all that. So yeah, I'm so grateful for PaviElle, so grateful for TruArtSpeaks.
That's beautiful. I want to keep the thread going about working with PaviElle, because that alignment is really important. The invitation to speak unapologetically about liberation and your future, and to craft the world you want to see. But also the challenge of working within a new medium, which is kind of what you're speaking to, and also, you know, you were speaking to that, Taiwana. Can you just maybe speak to like what was a grand takeaway from the time that you were able to spend with the incomparable PaviElle French?
Play, like the word play, that came up a lot, and I think I knew it like in theory, but not in praxis. Like, I was getting really okay, mind you, I've been doing the thing for like 10 plus years. Okay, I'm a big homie in my own right, but I was getting nervous, and I was getting kind of I was overwhelmed, and I was like assuming that the people who kept me the most safe in this like past 2 weeks and years would like suddenly be like, man, I should whack. Oh my gosh, like it was a new experience because I was doing new things. So I'm primarily like, I shouldn't say primarily, but I'm a poet. Like, that's the thing that I do. I do not write to music. I am not what I would consider a musician. And that was something that was asked of me this week, and I found myself overthinking about perfection and how it sounded and how it needed to be in a workshop space where the whole point is just the practice of creation. The point is to flex a muscle. The point is to know that you have the ability, put it on your belt, use it for later. And I was so focused on like whatever I thought the end goal should be, because PaviElle is super, super dope. And I was like, I'm trying to be like that in 2 weeks. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. I came like this close today. But understanding that, right? It's a kind of humility and a kind of like bigger picture moment. You got to step back and be like, okay, I did the thing. I'm happy I did the thing. I have the product of the thing. And now it's one of the building blocks in my little house, which is one of the houses in down for the whole block. Then it's one of the blocks in the city. And then the city becomes the state, becomes the da. You get it, mathematics, right? So I think to really take, so now the show is over. I did the show, we did the thing. How can I still apply that to my everyday? How can I go into my graduate program and tell my mentor, like, can we try this today? Instead of just like listening to whatever he has to say, I'm like, okay, I want this to be a more collaborative effort. How can I go into my next job and be like, yo, I have a really dope idea. Is there a way to share that? Or is there a way to invite other people to make a collective thought or a collective practice? So I'm extremely humbled by that fact.
Similarly, I really enjoy working with PaviElle. For me, the whole process felt heart affirming, and like throughout the whole thing, we were cared for and part of PaviElle's team. Like, it wasn't just like ACF contract, boom, 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 but it was like relationship, and like, I don't know, I hope I can still look to PaviElle as a mentor after this. For me, the experience was like a huge genre flip. I started as a poet, and now I'm in grad school studying fiction. And like in my program, and when I look at other fiction writers, like folks don't be performing the music. Folks don't be like doing things with their voice. It's like, hey, I'm reading a page, and you could tell I'm reading off a page. And I'm like, man, I'm not trying to be one of those boring like fiction writers. I want to be a storyteller that is engaging. I want to be a storyteller that, like, if my little sister is like, Tawana, what are you doing? You feel me? Like, I could do my story in a way that is accessible to her and digestible to her. Yeah, and I really want to come from this process like with that same intention of, another thing is that this process, a huge emphasis was being unapologetic, being big in our gestures and our poses and intentional. Yeah, and I learned a lot about like my body and like my little quirks that I didn't know about before. And so now, you feel me, I'm gonna come from this experience like carrying that confidence in my body. Yes, and trying to be clear and confident and bold.
Wow. So I've been classically trained in the violin for like 10 years through middle school and high school, and I had to just put it down for a couple of years because I did not like the classical environment at my institution that I was attending at the time, and I took a good two-year break. And so picking up the instrument again was very intimidating, and to be like in the very first session with PaviElle, hearing her music and engaging with it naturally with her, it just came out like, oh yeah, I think I could see me playing the violin here. And she encouraged that and nurtured me in a way that allowed me to pick my favorite song and then take that and run with it. And a space that I really needed as someone who was classically trained and constantly in like a rigorous program and couldn't really like connect. Like my arts experiences, I feel like I've always separated them. But up until recently, and with this experience, I feel like I'm able to connect them, to see the fluidity in all the arts. And PaviElle really just did that. And like at the beginning, I saw PaviElle's work, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm not taking out my violin. Like I was like, I was like, yeah, I just, when you play an instrument and you leave it alone and you pick it up again, it's a very vulnerable thing. It feels like you're playing for the first time, and you have to rely on muscle memory and the retention of your brain power that just retained, I guess. Yeah. So that was amazing for me, and I feel that I can take ownership of being a musician again, and to stand in that role in other areas. And I feel like supported, and I feel I can grow into my artistry in multiple avenues. I call myself a multidisciplinary artist, but I was definitely shying away from the violin, something that I'm versed in, and just music in general. So that's the biggest takeaway that I got from this experience working with PaviElle specifically. And I can't be more grateful.
Word. That was beautiful. I think we have time for one more question. So you all are kind of speaking to it, and I should sort of informally, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring in some things you said in the audience, because there's a value around intergenerational practice within the organization, right? And what we're seeing in terms of PaviElle working with you all, and y'all are also speaking to the fact that you're in this young adult bracket. And at our organization, like when we talk about young people, we talk about folks between, primarily our target audience, folks between the ages of 13 and 24. And part of why that's important for us is because, the after high school group tends to be forgotten about. Right, the funding drops, the after-school programming, the out-of-school programming, community programming, it becomes really scarce, and there's this pool of folk who still need the PaviElles and the so-ons and the so-forths to continue to invest in them as they continue to develop and, architect their voice, right? Be the architects of their voice, I should say. So what I want to, and what you said, Aisha, that was really beautiful after Purple Playground, to bring all of the young people in this space full circle, you were talking about how inspired you were to go even harder today, right? So what I'm interested in is, in terms of the theme of this conference, which is lifting our youth, lifting the voice of our youth, what does that mean to you all in the context of this thing as the sort of young adult representation who's been working with a mentor artist? In a couple minutes, the three of y'all, how important is it to lift up your voice, the voice of young people, unapologetically, while crafting the future you want to see?
Okay, yeah, super quick. I think very candidly, without TruArtSpeaks, I would not be here. And I mean that in a multitude of ways. You can do with that what you will, right? And I think because there was a traditional sense to poetry, there was this very inaccessible form of poetry that I was first invited to that made me feel neglected. And when I was 13, somebody was like, go to this slam. I was like, okay, if I compete, if I don't get it, if I do get it, I don't know. But TruArtSpeaks never turned me away, however I came. I think that's important, right? That you don't age out of a program that always wants you. Yeah. So then I got to college, I got to high school, and then they were like, there are art scholarships. And I was like, people will pay me to do art? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, what? Then I went to college. Then I did my 4-year at fully funded. Then I was like, okay, what do I do next? They were like, they will also pay your master's. I said, what? Yeah. So I'm talking about this monetary thing, but through that, right, there was a care for my person. There was a care for my character. Audre Lorde talks about self-care, right? We can't be a part of a revolution if we're burnt out. TruArtSpeaks, PaviElle, programs like this keep you from burning out, right? Whether you are a poet like me, or a violinist, or a fiction writer. There's a multitude of art forms that TruArtSpeaks values. And even if you got a new one, you pulling up with like something different. I don't know. TruArtSpeaks like, we gonna find it. We gonna find it. And I think that desire to find space is something that I never knew, and that now that I know it from practice, I can inform other folks of that as well.
I've had the privilege of seeing myself kind of come full circle to going to workshops facilitated by Tish and Kyle and other mentors, to now like being able to hold my own workshops with younger folks. And so like I see myself as like a Gen Z elder in training. um, You feel me? You feel me? Like I'm about to be 23. Like I'm not in high school no more, but like I'm not like 30, and so you know it's that cool. It's that cool in between space. um, and right now it feels like centering Gen Z and our young folks is super important because like folks be hating on us. The folks really be hating on Gen Z. They hate on the way we talk. They hate on our culture. They hate on the way we see the world. And like, I think we're beautiful because we did not get the memo that things need to be this way. You feel me? We didn't get the memo. And so, yeah, I see my work as like being able to pass the torch and like cultivate the radical imagination that young people already have.
So I pushed myself to step in a role as an artist in 2020. And, you know, a lot of shit happened in 2020. Like, I don't have to explain that. But, like, when I did that, it was something really bold. And shout out to my mom for pushing me in that direction. She always saw my visual arts as something valuable, but it was hard to keep me in a program that wasn't like a one-time thing or something that was accessible for us and our family. So I feel like when I did step out and I was like, yeah, but I'm an artist. I just definitely thought about like how my art was going to be received and how my work was going to translate to my other work, playing the violin, and because I'm a visual artist as well as a violinist, as well as many things. But once I did that, I really just stood into it and I introduced myself as an artist, and all of a sudden people were like, yeah, Athena's an artist. And I was like, cool, we're on the same page. And then what happened was I was in school and I applied for a scholarship and I actually got it, one of 5 in the state. And I was like, I didn't think I could get it, but you know, I got it because I was writing about something that I didn't even know I was passionate about, and that was supporting the youth in my community and meeting the unmet needs of Minnesota Black youth. And with that, I produced a program called Art Girl Action, and it was a summer program, and I intend to do it again with more support someday. But with that opportunity, I was able to pay myself and collaborate with other Black spaces and creators and business owners who were also Black and female identifying. I worked with a Black and brown woman workspace to hold the program, and then I collaborated with a Black-owned deli market, and they supplied healthy foods, and that was important to me for youth to understand that you can eat healthy and it can be good, and you can take care of yourself while journeying through life, college, and all of that. The students I worked with were seniors transitioning into like college, and that experience just showed me like I am passionate in supporting the youth, and I needed that kind of support when I was younger, and I still do. And so it was just a really collaborative experience, and I learned from them and they learned from me, and they openly gave feedback and like suggestions or things that they really wanted to see or ways they wanted to show up, and we just grew from there. And we had Leslie Barlow come as a speaker and talk about her artistry, and Ariel Grant talk about her illustration process and her writing, and the 6 girls I worked with were just dope, and I am here for it, pretty much.
Fresh. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for listening, for being present. Congratulations on a great performance.